Hey everyone, it's Ryan Henry, idea guy and co-founder for INSPIREsmall.biz. And on this episode of the Bright Ideas Show, we talk to a longtime photographer here in Greenfield, Indiana, who has taken his studio on the road. Don't miss this episode of the Bright Ideas Show. Hey everyone, Ryan Henry, idea guy and co-founder of INSPIREsmall.biz, and welcome to the 5th episode of the Bright Ideas Show. We're recording at Refinery 46 at 2201 East 46th Street in Indianapolis. What is Refinery 46? Well, it's this great co-working space with membership starting at just $150 a month with general access to the building, plus use of the conference room. We record in the Ironworks boardroom, something that you can reserve at your convenience as part of your membership. Maybe you're ready for an office suite. Well, they have all kinds of sizes of offices available for you to choose from. So check them out, www.refinery46.com. Today's guest is Marty Moran, who is a photographer, an author, and even a master of his own line of sauces for pasta. And we're going to talk to him here in just one moment. But before we do talk to him, we have a recent clip added to the INSPIREsmall.biz library. Denise Prawl, who owns Whiteboard Learning, talks about how to calculate the return on investment from your networking memberships.
So the first thing we're going to do is how much is your networking costing you? So we're going to go through, if you're not numbers people, hang with me, but we're going to go through a calculation. I want you to start doing your own calculation and thinking about this. So the first thing I want you to think about is the number of hours you spend networking each month. And I'm not talking about just sitting maybe at a luncheon or going to an after hours event and meeting people and passing out your business card. That's just one part of your networking. So some of the other things that you need to consider in networking is, yes, how much time did you spend at that after hours event? How much time did you spend at that lunch? But also, what was your travel time? It could be also follow-up time. So networking is pretty worthless if you're not following up with the people that you talk to and you meet. So you've got to calculate in your follow-up time. So that can be coffee meetings, Zoom meetings, writing notes to people, sending emails. So all of this needs to calculate into your networking time. So for this particular example, I came up with kind of a conservative number of saying, let's say you spend 12 hours a month on your networking time. Let's take that times 12. We come up with a calculation of you're spending about 144 hours a year networking. Now, the next thing I want you to really think about, and again, this is not something as smaller business people that we really consider, is how much is your hourly rate? And many of you don't charge by the hour. Some of you do. Many of you don't, but you still have a cost of time. So I want you to really give that some thought.
All right, everyone. So now I would like to introduce our guest on this week's episode of the Bright Ideas Show, Marty Moran, who is the owner of White Hot Headshot and the author on a book called Get Married Once and Do It Right. Marty Moran. Marty, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Ryan. Doing wonderful. It's great to be here, and I appreciate your support. Thank you.
Awesome. So Marty, tell our viewers about yourself and what was your career before you decided to get into business?
Well, early on, I was in telecommunications for many years, and I worked for AT&T and a few other companies for about 37 years. But in the background of that, I was always shooting photography and doing weddings and assorted things. But I spent most of my time, and I had a good job. It was good work, but I never really did my dream. And in 2005, the company I'd worked for said, we're going to shut down the doors, and you're going to have to look for a new job. And I was at age 55, and I thought, what am I going to do for about an hour. And then after that, it was like, I'm going to do my dream. I worked everybody else's dreams. It's time to do my own. And thus the photography business started slowly at first, but I'm a person who never gives up. I'm going to find a way through this, and I did.
And so, Marty, I'm going to give you a bit of a plug here. You took my headshot and Carly's headshot back in 2021. And so now we were just talking before starting our episode today about getting our next headshots lined up. So let's talk about that journey of getting your business started. What did that look like for you? What was the deciding thing that made you say, I'm going to start my own business?
Well, the deciding thing, it's always been in me. The idea of having my own business has always been in me, but it's more like the voices kept telling me, get a job, get a job, get a job. And inside my own heart, I knew that I had something different in my life. Getting a job was all well and good, and I'm not against those who get a job, but I felt like my life had a different purpose. I'm not even going to say a higher purpose, but it had a different purpose. And it was the fact that I wanted to do what I needed to do, and my goal was always to help people and help people change their lives and support their direction. And it's always been about trying to serve people. And I'm still learning the best way to do that, but it's more about just serving the public now than anything else. And I think a lot of businesses are self-serving. I just didn't want to be that way.
And so, Marty, let's talk about the style of your headshots, because you have a very unique style that not many other photographers, especially here in Central Indiana, use. You've told me before that you study eyes. So tell our viewers a little bit about what that means and how it results in a much different product than they can get with other photographers.
Well, sometimes I think photographers do a lot of headshots, but I started studying headshots, and I saw a lot of headshots online that people were using for business that really weren't very good. And I'm the type that, and I think a lot of the public is too, that if I can't really see your eyes, I don't know if I like you. And so as I started looking at eyes, I realized eyes don't lie. So if I get engaged in a conversation with you, I can usually tell if you like me or if you're trying to sell your stuff to me. So I started noticing more in that. And then I was doing weddings for many years, and thus the reason why my book came out. After studying couples sitting before me for 90 minutes, I would hear her talk and watch his eyes at the same time, or hear him talk and watch her eyes. And I go, they're not going to make it. And the accuracy was pretty substantial in the fact that oftentimes she would say something, and I look at his eyes, and he's not even on the same page with her. He just thinks she's cute, but they're not on the same page. It's what can you do for me lately type stuff. And I felt like that was pretty substantial. So when I started doing headshots, the idea is that it's not that you're doing a headshot for the people that you know, it's doing a headshot for the people that you don't know to see if you can get them into your circle. And if they like your eyes, and they feel that they can trust you, they'll contact you, and they'll look at things besides your face. They'll look at your bio. Most times people run through LinkedIn and other social media sites, and if they don't like your photo, they move on. And most of the people in business that get headshots, they don't understand the marketing is about your face, but they claim they understand the public very well, which they really don't. The public chooses businesses based on their perception and not yours.
So Marty, that brings up an excellent point. Not only are you a headshot photographer, but you also do wedding photography. So let me ask you this. What do you love the most about what you do?
Well, I get an opportunity to be very creative. Weddings are a little different than headshots. With weddings, I get a chance to be creative. And the older I get, the more creative I get. You would think that when you're young, you're really creative. But as I get older, based on what I've done when I was younger, I see the creativity increasing. And some people I think, well, I've done that for years. I don't need to do that anymore. Me, I'm all about getting more creative. So especially when I find a bride and groom that are on the same page with me and we're a team, we get a whole lot more accomplished than me just being their client. and me being their client. So now we can become friendship. That's how you get it better. But I think a lot of photographers sell their stuff because they're just trying to make money. But I'm more than that. I'm about the relationship building, and I think that holds more relevance to anything else.
So Marty, let's talk about who all of the folks are that you can serve, because between headshots and wedding photography, there's a lot of people that you can help. So tell our viewers who those folks are so they can listen for you to who to make that connection to.
Well, I'm really good at connecting with corporate clients. And the interesting thing is now that I close my studio, I come to the clients. So it's a true service industry for me. I've always wanted to be service. So service is number one. But I have corporate clients. I have small businesses, including startups. I have college students that are looking for a great beginning to the corporate world of business. I look at actors and public speakers and podcast hosts like our friend here, website, those who need content for creating, doctors, nurses, administrators, lawyers, etc. I'm finding that I'm getting more of that. So I have a vast array of clients, but it could be for about anything. Mostly it's to help your business succeed, because people buy based on you. They don't buy based on what you do. If you read, for example, the bios that I write, the bios are about the kind of person you are more than the business that you're in. So if you can understand my point, people who are interested in your stories. There's 1,000 lawyers. Maybe you like or don't like lawyers. But more important, people like to read about where you visited, what your vacations are like, how many children you have, how long have you been married, do you love your husband and wife? And I don't post things like how many times you've been divorced, because that's not really a positive thing in the client's eyes. So it's got a little bit of a downer feel to it. But I always start off with something great and positive when I tell a story. So all those people are the ones I serve, and I want to be very personal in their lives.
And so Marty, before we wrap up our interview here, you published a book recently called Get Married Once and Do It Right. Tell our viewers a little bit about your journey to write that book, as well as your own journey of being married for over 50 years.
Well, thank you, Ryan. Last year, or this year early, my wife and I celebrated 51 years. And I will have to say that I married a great, honorable woman. And she has a lot of good character. And sometimes she and we can have that little bit of that character between us. But I see now more than ever how she's the perfect one for me. But when I wrote my book, it was a journey to a personal self-discovery. But I also realized that men look at their women and think, man, she's pretty and she's sexy and all that stuff. But how I found my wife truly was looking for her heart. And I started listening to what was in her heart. And when I started discovering and studying her, I found out what's really important to her. And I think oftentimes in a marriage, we only think about what's important to us, and we're pretty selfish. And people want to say money's a problem in marriage, or sex is a problem in marriage, or children are a problem in marriage, or work. But the truth, the real problem with marriages is self-centeredness. It's all about me and what I want to do, more important than the other person. And that never, ever, ever works in a marriage. That's whether it's the husband or the wife. If we had to move to a new location to make changes in our life, I wouldn't say, honey, we're moving. Pack up your bags, we're going. That would be unfair to her. And she wouldn't do the same thing to me. So that's how selfishness, well, but honey, I got a raise, it's going to pay me twice as much money. That's not going to work. I don't care how much money you make. If it destroys your relationship, I cannot do that. And I think that's what keeps a marriage solid. And I wrote it because if a husband and wife are close, their children are tight, but divorce does separate children. And people say, my kids are better off. But the truth is, they now have a bipolar personality between dad and mom. I can't live with that. So I made a point that I'm going to make things work with my wife to draw my family in closer, and it is working. So there's something to be said about that. So get married once, do it right is my perspective. But if you do it right, it'll be your perspective too.
Nice. And so, Marty, how can our viewers get a hold of you if they want to learn more about your photography or to pick up a copy of your book or even just to have a conversation with you?
Well, I will tell you, in the social media world or the tech world, you can text or call me at 317-912-4323. You can email me at mmoran at whitehotheadshot, that's MMORAN, at whitehotheadshot.com, or the website is whitehotheadshot.com. Or you can have a cup of coffee with me and get to really know who I am, and I can get to know you. That's probably my favorite way.
Awesome. Well, Marty, thank you so much for taking the time to be a guest on today's show. And to everyone watching, make sure to give Marty Moran with White Hot Headshot a call for all of your photography needs or to pick up your copy of his book. Next, I would like to share with you another short clip that was added to the INSPIREsmall.biz website. Paige Gillig joined us recently to talk about how you can start using LinkedIn to build your professional online presence.
I think one other thing that I did not get to share is about recommendations. And I think a lot of our business models do have to deal with recommendations. So, I mean, this would be something that's really good to make sure to ask. So if you want someone to give you a recommendation, please feel free to send them this. You can add it and then ask for recommendation. I think that's it, everybody. Like, I think that's the main thing, that recommendations are going to be super helpful for you since you all deal with customers. And your about section is going to be the most influential to make sure to tell your story. And then having a very clear and concise banner that even if you do have multiple companies and things like that, having general information up here, something like that.
All right, everyone, make sure to join us this Wednesday starting at 5 o'clock p.m. for the first Sparks After Hours event. We'll be at the Northside Events and Social Club at 2100 East 71st Street in Indianapolis. Our theme for this month is comebacks, so join us for a fantastic evening of networking and 3 inspiring comeback stories. Our speakers this month include Danny O'Malia, Amanda Starr, and Jeff Utzinger. Guests will also get to enjoy a taco bar for dinner, so make sure to get your tickets today. If you register before Tuesday evening, your tickets are just $25. Visit www.inspiresmall.biz/sparks. Also, if you are an InspireSmall.biz member, depending on the level of membership you have, your tickets are either 50% off or included with your membership. And before we move on to the next event, I want to share with you a video about what makes Sparks so special.
This is my first time attending. This is my third Sparks event.
I've been attending Sparks since the beginning.
Tom Ford. This is my first time. I'm a rookie.
My name's Kevin Emmons. I've been a Sparks member for about a year.
I've been coming for 3 months now. This is my third one.
Why I already love Sparks.
Why I love Sparks, because it's a great way to meet people.
I love that you never know what you're going to get, and you always walk away with a new perspective.
I mean, listen to it. It's a rambunctious crowd. It's a lot of fun.
It's also a great way to learn about others. You can hear the buzz out here in the crowd. Great way to see some fantastic TED speakers.
When you're done watching a TED Talk, you kind of want to tell everybody about it. Well, at Sparks, you can't.
It's a great event to hear from a variety of speakers who have a wealth of knowledge.
They asked me the question, why do I love Sparks? I love Sparks because Sparks is what it says it is. It's inspiring, it's uplifting, it's energetic, it's entertaining. It's all that plus a whole lot more.
And why I love Sparks is because it's a message.
It's a great event.
I love it, and you guys got to check it out.
The energy's exciting, and it makes you think.
Don't delay. Click the registration button and grab your ticket for the next Sparks event near you.
So everyone, that website again is www.inspiresmall.biz/Sparks to get your tickets for the comeback of Sparks After Hours. Then make sure to join us this Friday, August 11th, for the next Business Spotlight. We'll be at Pinheads on State Road 37 in Fishers. Already 80 are registered for this event. You have until 5 o'clock p.m. Tuesday to get registered for Business Spotlight if you would like your name included in the event booklet. What makes Business Spotlight so unique is that everybody who attends not only gets a copy of that booklet so you can see everyone who has registered and said that their info can be included in the booklet, but everyone will get 45 seconds on the microphone to talk about their business and the prospects that they want to meet. So to get registered for that event, visit www.inspiresmall.biz/spotlight. If you liked this video today, be sure to like, share, and subscribe to InspireSmall.biz so you can get the newest videos that include inspiring stories from small business owners in your community. And if you're in the process of starting your own business, consider becoming a member of InspireSmall.biz by visiting www.inspiresmall.biz/join. I'm Ryan Henry, idea guy and co-founder of InspireSmall.biz. Thanks for watching and catch our next episode next week. We'll see you there.